Hello, welcome, my friend. We are here to discuss about perfectionism and a specific aspect of perfectionism today that probably you didn't expect. To give you an example, you have heard probably somebody saying, well, I'm not a perfectionist. I have really low standards. I don't have any high expectations from myself or from my life or from my work. So I'm not a perfectionist. Well, let's talk about that. There are many perfectionists who have really low expectations, and I will explain why. In case you haven't seen me before, you haven't seen any of my videos, I'm Vassia. I'm a psychologist, and I'm a perfectionism passionate expert. I'm talking a lot about perfectionism. I had been in the past a perfectionist in my academy, in my YouTube channel. I help you go from the toxic, unhealthy perfectionism to the healthy perfectionism. Because once a perfectionist, always a perfectionist. You will never become somebody who's given up. You have high standards, you have goals, dreams, passions, you want to achieve, you want to succeed, you want to grow. Definitely. How can we have all this without the toxicity and negativity and the chaos of perfectionism? It's possible. But today, let's talk about what happens when a perfectionist gives up. There are two types of perfectionists: the overdriven perfectionist and the paralyzed perfectionist. They're both struggling with their high standards, with their hypercritical self talk. They both struggle with fear of failure and comparisons, etc. So, perfectionism. However, the way that one perfectionist, the overdriven, copes is by fueling their engine and working all day long. This is the most possible type that will have a burnout. They will working all day long. They're always restless, involved in so many projects. The paralyzed perfectionist, on the other side, is the person who is stuck in the overthinking, overanalyzing their next move, their next decision, their next action. Anything needs to go through a lot of thinking, a lot of self doubt, and this is where they get stuck. This is the perfectionist that is most probable to lower their standards because it's easier, safer, more comfortable. If somebody lowers their standards, it's not because they're happy there, it's because it feels safer. When they lower their standards, it's the same mechanism of perfectionism. They are both scared of failure. What if I fail? What if whatever I do will be a humiliating experience in front of my family, friends, etc.? So they're both scared. However, the paralyzed decides that because I don't want to experience any failure, I'm going to lower my standards. See, it's safer here. It's better here. So the lowering the standards and the quitting, and what I mean with quitting is you're quitting a dream, a goal. You wanted to start a blog and then you quit. You're like, you know what? Too much of a hassle, and it's, something that it's not related to my main job. So why bother? We form all these excuses because what if I fail? Or it's overwhelming to think of all the things that I need to do. It's overwhelming to grow from where I am to where I see myself in the future. It's the overwhelm that makes us quit because, again, it seems safer for a perfectionist. Not only the fear of failure, but also the fear of success. A perfectionist visualizes the day that they will be successful, that the blog will become viral and everybody will be reading them. And again, they're feeling overwhelmed because what if I cannot manage this success? What if I cannot sustain this success? What if I cannot repeat this success? I don't know. I'm not sure that I have the steps. Maybe success happens out of luck. You see now the connection between perfectionist and imposter, right? Maybe I will be successful because of luck. So it's better to lower my standards because I cannot live every day with the realization that I have that expectation for myself and I don't meet these expectations. I cannot live in this disappointment every day. So it's better if I lower my standards and then my actions and my standards are at the same level. It feels better for somebody who is protecting their self-esteem and their self-confidence. It feels safer. It feels more relieving. It's a protection for our self esteem and our self confidence. It's our protection for our identity when we lower the standards and when we quit. When somebody quits their dreams, their passions, their needs, when somebody lowers their expectations, it's because of the overwhelm, the fear of success, the fear of failure, the comparisons, all these features of the unhealthy perfectionism that make them quit or lower the standards. Deep inside them, they would love to meet these expectations. They would love to go against these fears and try. They would love that. However, that's the way we cope sometimes, huh? And we decide to give up. Well, somebody asks, what if there is a way that we can reverse that? What if we find a way that we don't need to quit? We don't need to lower our expectations. Yes, there is a way. Lower expectations and higher expectations, too high expectations. One thing that we don't like about these is that they are unrealistic. Unrealistic high expectations and unrealistic low expectations. And by unrealistic low expectations, I mean you see somebody who has tons of potential, but then they're doing 1% of their potential, tiny little percent of their potential, unrealistic low, unrealistic high. So the antidote to that is realistic expectations. We need to learn as perfectionists who are recovering what is the healthy medium, what is the expectations that we should have from ourselves, that they're somewhere in the middle, not too much, not too little. I say learn because as a perfectionist, I'm sure that your high expectation feels like normal to you. I mean, I don't expect so much from myself. It's normal to have 20 tasks per day, right? It feels normal, but we have to unlearn that kind of normal and go to the other, the realistic normal. So we have to learn how to set realistic expectations. And at the same time, the second thing that we have to do is we have to become friends with failure. We are talking about reframing failure. And by reframing failure, we mean instead of seeing failure as a disaster, as the end of the world, as something embarrassing and shameful, we are reframing it so that we learn to see failure as just a part of our success. A healthy perfectionist has become friends with failure, has accepted and embraced failure, and is taking the messages from failure as important learning curves, important learning lessons on their way to success. That's what a healthy perfectionist does. They're still dreaming of success and growth, but meanwhile, they have become really good friends with failure and they're not paralyzed because of that. So we can reverse this paralyzing effect of perfectionism. First, when we set realistic expectations, and secondly, when we become friends with failure. I hope it was helpful. Let me know how you have experienced, if you have experienced that side of perfectionism when instead of too high expectations, we go to too low expectations. Let me know whether you have experienced that. Let me know what has helped you or what has sabotaged you in that way, in defeating perfectionism in that way. Thank you very much. Have a good day and take good care of yourself.